Okay? All right. Good morning, everybody. It's 10 o'clock. We'll go ahead and start this special meeting. Today is Thursday, 10 o'clock, the 10th day of June 2021. We're going to call this meeting to order. Item 1.2 is roll call. Mario, we're all present, so we have a full quorum. Item 1.3 is pledge of allegiance and salute to the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Salute the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one indivisible. Item 1.4 is public comment. Anyone in the audience with a public comment? Okay. All right. We have Pedro Perez III that wants to address this Commissioner's Court. Mr. Perez. So have you raised your right hand, please? You sound swear. Right. Son swear that this morning you're going to apply in this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God.
First of all, I don't know if this is on, but I can speak loud.
Right?
I'm way scared. First of all, good morning. My name is Peter Bettis III, and of course we got the news about you declaring a local state of disaster for Dimmit County. First thing I do want to say is thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. It means a lot to the citizens of Dimmit County. I'm not here to represent a particular organization or anything like that. I'm here as a regular citizen of Dimmit County who has been seeing what's been happening in our community and all the activity. And I just want to say thank you, first of all, for doing that. My comment, well, actually really a question, is when we get to the item on the agenda, could we have an explanation in detail of what this declaration means and how it would be implemented for Dimmit County? And that's my comment.
Okay, sir. We're going to enter into a general discussion, so if we don't answer your question, let me know and I'll expect it. Yes. Okay, the next item, anybody else in the public comment? Commissioners? No? Okay, then we'll move on to item 2.1, the discussion and appropriate action concerning the approval of declaration of local state of disaster due to illegal immigration from Mexico. I don't know, did we get everybody a copy then? Did you give everybody a copy? For the past, maybe month and a half, 2 months, we have been in discussions concerning the illegal immigration and some of the counties believing that it's putting a toll on their infrastructure, I guess, and on the ability of their sheriff's departments and police departments to take care of that. They have approached me several times. I was hesitant in passing the declaration because of the stigma that is behind by declaring that we have a state of emergency because we can't control the immigration. This court bases its opinions, their decisions, and their rulings based on the information that we get. We try not to make any decision based on rumors. So the only thing that I can go by is the reports that the sheriff gives us. And if the report that the sheriff gives us does not reflect that we have a problem, I don't know whether or not we have a problem. For me to say we have a burden on a sheriff's department, that we have, over the term that you all used, human trafficking, that we have, an overabundance of break-ins. I don't know that. And for me to say it just because somebody else is saying, I don't think that is correct. That's why I put you under oath, because I thought you were going to make a comment, not ask a question. Because we cannot deal on rumors. We have to deal on facts. Now, when they asked me to pass this declaration, my first question was, well, the first order that I got that they wanted me to pass, it said that we didn't have enough police officers, that we didn't have enough funds, that we did not have, that we have an overabundance of chases, that we have all these things that normally had occurred in Dimmit County. I don't know that we have those things, so we rely on our law enforcement, our service part, to get to that information. And if we don't get that information, then to me, it's just rumor, hearsay. I can't rely on that. So I told them, well, I have a problem in passing that resolution because your community is a little bit smaller than ours. If you only have 7, 8 officers, or however many you have, Dimmit County has 33, 34 officers. We have 3 or 4 marshals. We have 4 or 5 school police. We have 19 or 16, 15, however they are, DPS officers. And we have 200, 300 border patrolmen. So how can I sit here and say we do not have enough law enforcement? Do we have a problem? Yes. Has the problem ever existed before? Yes. Is it greater than it was before? I don't know. I'm assuming it is because everybody's clamoring about it. But do I know that to be a fact? No. This court, people don't realize that this court is sort of like the district court, like the JP court, the county court. We deal in facts. And we can make decisions based only on the facts that we have, not what we hear or don't hear. Do we need to declare Dimmit County a disaster? That's what I was going to ask the commissioners. That can't be my sole decision because I'm one of 5 votes. Chapter 41 says that I have the right to declare emergency, a right that the governor took away from us on the onset. So the only thing I can do is declare this a disaster for 7 days, at the end of which the Commissioner's Court must decide whether or not we want to declare Dimmit County to be a disaster. Now, there's, I think, I received a declaration from the governor like last week, and I think there was only like 6 or 7 counties, is that? I don't remember, 6 or 7 counties that had passed that resolution, and they're all in South Texas. Then I started hearing that they want to bring in these outfits that, I don't know, I call them radical, I don't know that, for lack of a better term, to come and control the border. We can't handle that. If the governor wants to activate the state guard, okay. If that's what he thinks should be done, okay, I'm good with that. At least we know we have people that can control those persons. That happened several years ago. We had some problems with some of those persons that were sent over here. I don't know. But Commissioner, the reason that I put this on the agenda is because our other neighboring counties like Dimmit County, Katy County, Webb County, they are all saying that they have a major problem in controlling the illegal immigration. And the only thing I can say, that's a federal issue. I don't know that there's anything that Dimmit County can do to alleviate the problem. So I open the item for discussion. discussion, now how are we going to implement? I don't know what we can do. The reason that a lot of these counties are doing this is they're seeking to get funding from other sources. And I'm assuming that they're trying to get a grant of some sort. What the parameters of that grant are or going to be, I have no idea. Is it going to help us or not help us? I wouldn't have an idea. If the governor is going to set aside money for that purpose, I do not have an idea. How they're going to run the program, if any, I wouldn't know. Those answers will come when and if they decide that they're going to do something about it. What can they do about it? I don't know. If they ask us for our help, am I willing to help? Yes. Most often, when the state government sends any mandate to any county, to Dimmit County, any county, it's usually an unfunded mandate. They tell you gotta do this, that, the other, but they don't send you any money to do it. And if they do send you money, they send you a few dollars for the first year, and after that, there's nothing you can do. We have people that help us with those type of issues. The government wants to do away with those persons that help us resolve those issues. Those lobbyists, they call them lobbyists. We have some counties have lobbyists. We don't have a lobbyist. And they fight those unfunded mandates, and now they're trying to do away with lobbyists. They help us take care of those type of issues. They're trying to limit our decision-making powers, saying that the local elected police don't know what they're doing. They don't know what our issues. Those things that we deal with all the time. How are we going to fix a problem, the problem that exists here? I don't know. The federal government can figure it out. I doubt that the county can figure it out. We don't have the full faith and credit of the United States to take care of this type of problems. Now, do I recognize that there is a problem? We always have that problem. Is it worse now? How do we solve? But do I know that for a fact? Can you understand?
Yeah, if you could speak up.
If I know that for a fact, I don't. So we have to rely on the sheriffs, law enforcement, Texas Rangers, FBI, or whatever information concerning do we have a problem or not. Commissioners, so you have something to say?
Sure, Your Honor. I've said both district courts on that. The record letter was signed as Dimmit County Attorney. I noticed in the attorney that says immigration in Mexico, if you're going to pass a declaration from that, Mexico, other Latin American countries, other foreign countries that are coming through Mexico.
That's what, when you come to Mexico, that's the...
And then secondly, before we extend this, if we're going to pass this for some year period, if you can explain to the declaration that we will report from the sheriff department how many how many illegal immigrants are being turned over to Border Patrol. Yesterday, I had a conversation with the DPS sergeant here in Louisiana Springs, and he said, well, we want to know how we can prosecute some of these illegal aliens for criminal trespass, criminal mischief, and so on. I said, first of all, they have to be detained long enough for a case to be submitted and for us to bring them to court. 99% of the time, that does not happen. They're immediately turned over to the sheriff department, or the sheriff department turns over to immigration. They're never booked in our county jail, so we have no case to prosecute on those cases, those individuals coming across illegally. In my opinion, if we're able to do so when they're case comes up in federal court, they may get a stiffer sentence because now they have misdemeanor convictions in Dimmit County or whatever county they may become. But until we're able to house them, and that's unlikely and impossible with the number of people that they're detaining to house them for, 3 months, 6 months, a year, because, and I use those figures because that's how long it's taking for us to get a misdemeanor case in county court to prosecute from the sheriff department. And I agree with the court. I don't think that there is an issue with not enough law enforcement in Dimmit County. And I'm hearing the rumors also. Well, not enough manpower. But when our manpower are working these illegal man camps and not working their regular hours for Dimmit County, I have a problem.
Yes.
I have a problem with that. So I don't know where the complaints are coming from, but they need to stop. And maybe nobody wants to mention it, but I will. I'm not afraid of what may come back. But we have 34 officers. There's a handful of those officers that actually turn in reports to my office. The court is aware of that because the court prosecutes those cases, or hears those cases. I prosecute. So that's my 2 cents. Broaden it, 7 days. Require the sheriff if you can, in your declaration, to provide us the report, like he does in his monthly report. How many bailouts? Were there any charges filed in those cases? Have they been presented to the county attorney for the county court? That's how we can try to help. But if those cases aren't coming to county court, our hands are tied. So, and if there's no questions, I'd like to be excused so I can go back to district court.
Tell them that I'm going to do it when I can.
I will, then.
The Bella reports from the sheriff's office are reported on his reports. They put it in there.
But it's 1, 2, 3, 4 cases, but how regular they're happening.
That's why we say that we go by whatever the sheriff reports. And if it's only 3 reports per month on the Bella, we know there's more out there. We go by what he's giving us.
Then it's hard for you all to determine whether or not we actually have a more serious problem. If we don't get more information on those bailouts, how many detentions, there was a lady in Cruz with a kid that's been all over the news that she came home and they tried to steal her car and almost attempted her, and she's very concerned. There's incidents like that happening in our county. We're aware of that. How do we stop that? All I can say is be careful. As soon as you feel that you're unsafe, call the sheriff department, get an officer out there as soon as possible. And hopefully we can prevent anything from happening to our citizens. Be vigilant, not only the individuals that are approaching, but people in town as well. We've all seen people that we don't know walk in the streets, if they look suspicious, there's enough probable cause for the sheriff or the marshal situation to make a stop and make an inquiry, then they need to do so. How else are we going to know if we're dealing with individuals? And the other problem is they used to come across another kid with slingshots and maybe a pocket knife. And they're coming across with guns now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's an added danger. And how do we prevent that? So the people that are in here and raising money this past weekend, thank you. But it still needs to come to Commissioner's Court, and then they will apply that money where it's needed to the sheriff department that that's the purpose is raised for. It has to be approved. It can't go directly to the sheriff himself or his department. So that's just a bit of information. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, I'm concerned, you say, and I've had constituents approach me upset about, and once again, I don't like to be in the rumors, and that's why I'm trying to bring it up now. Our deputies working for these man camps, and they're concerned saying we can't find anybody when we call. And I mean, I know this is something that's got to be further looked into because once again, I don't, it could be a rumor, but if that's a fact, then that itself is creating an issue for Dimmit County because we're overwhelmed with the trafficking, but our guys aren't being able to assist because they're working on another second job or longer hours than they're scheduled for. I mean, wouldn't that be a major concern as you
It
say?
is a concern, and it's always been my concern. For years, I've asked for audits on Stone Garden records and their regular payroll records, because, and the judges have this concern, how are officers working 180-hour periods of work week for 2 weeks straight, and they're still able to perform the duties for the county attorney? That's a concern the judges always have. You know, how are they doing it? And, you know, I have law enforcement in my neighborhood. I've driven around town and seen law enforcement vehicles. They're parked during the day at their residence. You know, when supposedly they work 8 to 5, where are they?
As you say, it's kind of the same that I've been receiving from quite a bit of people. And, you know, it's hard because I don't have factual answer for their concerns. So it's something that I, the community as a board, we have to really look into, be able to address these issues and get them the correct answer.
When people ask me, aren't you afraid that they're not going to respond? My answer has to be yes. Why do you think I have a fence around my house? Why do you think I don't have Dimmit or any other type of security system? Because that's reported to the sheriff's office, and my experience has been when I've reported someone that the response time is slow. And the last experience I had when something was stolen from my house, when the officer gave the thief my personal cell number and told him to deal directly with me, to put me in jeopardy and my family in jeopardy, that was the last straw, you know, for me. I had one defendant in county court come to my house to ask me questions, to represent my attorney. I said, sir, you need to leave. I called an officer, and as he was driving up, the gentleman was riding his bike, and he couldn't find him. But it's been years, but it's happened to me too. I've had those situations.
Happened to me a lot.
So, and you know, people approach me all the time in public, at HEB or wherever they see me, and I'll talk to them. But, you know, do I have a concern every time somebody approaches me and I don't know them about my safety? Yes, especially when the family's with me. Yeah, they want to deal with me directly, then, you know, I'll deal with them. You know, I have the same concerns that the citizens of Dimmit County have. And I agree with this Commissioner's Court that, you know, until we have further information of what's needed to protect our county from Sheriff Department, from DPS, from immigration, that they need more assistance, then our hands are tied. It's hard to pass this disaster because of illegal immigration. We know it's here. We know it's coming. And we know that 90% of people transporting these illegal aliens are not from our county. Some are, but you know, they're coming from Houston, Dallas, and picking up these illegal aliens in our community and taking them to San Antonio, Houston, Dallas, or further up. And are some of them being held as hostages until they receive the monies by these guerrillas? I think they are. We've already had one case in Dimmit County. But those were local people, and they've been prosecuted in federal court. So when we do catch them and we're able to make a case, we've done so. And the sheriff has done so. So to say that we're not doing enough, I think is not valid. We do the best we can with what we have. Could we do better? Probably. But we're not ignoring the situation. That's all I have to do for the question.
Mr. G, I'm in the same predicament that I am concerned, especially with our employees being out there on the county roads. And again, they don't have no protection. But at the same time, if I recall correctly, I addressed this issue of them working at one time in the Commissioner's Court. And if I'm correct, I was told that it wasn't up to the Sheriff Department to decide if they were going to work or not. The one I had a concern about them getting sick, and then being in the Dimmit County uniform, working as a guard, and if something would transpire, it wasn't going to be the man camp that was going to be wholly responsible. It was going to be Dimmit County because they're representing Dimmit County. And it's like anybody else that buys a car. If there's a logo on a car, you don't change it to your name, and you hit somebody, they're not gonna come after that person, they're gonna go after somebody that's on the truck. But my concern was on that of the working at the man camps. And yes, I hear it a lot too, and I stop and tell people, you know, but and take me for what it is, but if it doesn't start where the main person's in charge of it, we won't hear nothing over there. And I tell the public that. I don't know how many people, well, did you know, again, I don't know, when we get a report, an exact report of what comes up, I can tell you right now, you're telling me that there's 100 cars caught a day or a week, whatever, but you only see 4 or 5, where did they go?
And why do we need further assistance? You know, and I agree, I have not been asked as county attorney to review any contracts with the sheriff department to work in man camps. So I don't know if they exist or not.
The sheriff says there's no contract.
Hearing all this information, you know, I'm very close with issuing an open records request. You know, the other problem we're having is that there's a handful of officers that aren't wanting to work those extra hours because they don't feel it's right, and they're frustrated. They're complaining. But, you know, what they do say is, please don't mention my name because I'll get fired. So, to those who are faithful to Dimmit County and continue to do their job at all costs, you know, we have one gentleman that says, I'll get to you as soon as I can, I'm the only one working today. What do you mean you're the only one working today? You know, and what I hate hearing is when someone calls 911, oh, we don't have an officer available. What do you mean we don't have an officer available? We got 30 officers. You know, that is frustrating. You know, and I did see a clip of the meeting when they settled the church, and I believe in that meeting said, well, you know, we're willing to be transparent. Well, those of you that spoke that are willing to be transparent, provide the information to the people that you're talking to. You know, show them the contract. Show them if you're working at the man camps. Show them that your officers are patrolling 24/7, protecting our community first. Don't be blaming our commissioner's court that they're not doing enough, that they're not providing vests for our officers. Look at the last budgets. How many requests have we had for vests from the sheriff department? None that I can recall. So when people are criticizing you all as commissioner court that we're not doing enough, you know, they're not well informed. That's the bottom line. Ma'am, excuse me.
Thank you. I asked the sheriff to be here because if nothing else, maybe we could get the information that we needed to pass this thing. Colin said he couldn't be here, so apparently they're having a meeting, and I was going to be part of that meeting in Del Rio, but I got bombarded with some cases in district court, so I'm not going to be able to go to that. It's something in reference to this, but that's at like a 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. So anyway, he called and said he couldn't be here. A lot of people do not understand how county government works. I used to, in the old days when I was the county attorney, I used to go to the city and they would tell me, you guys don't know what you're doing. And I said, well, it might look that way, but county government and city government are two different animals. County government, I have myself and I have all the elected officials, none of which I can tell them what to do. I cannot tell an elected official what to do. Once we give them his or her budget, they can do with that budget what they want to do. If the expenditure or what they're trying to do is a legal act, I have to approve it. The only thing that the commissioner's court can say or do for an elected official is we are charged with the duties of creating the positions and the salaries that come with those positions. After that, I, the county judge, cannot tell an elected official how to do his job, how not to do his job, what not to do, or what to do. I cannot. the elected officials' bosses are the taxpayers, and the Attorney General's office is the by labor. We, the Commissioners Court, have very little control over the elected officials. The city and the other part, and this is why I used to tell them, they get to provide their team, they get to select who their pitcher is, who their catcher is, they get to, and if they don't like that pitcher or that catcher, they can get rid of and get another. We cannot get rid of an elected official. We cannot get rid of any employee of the elected official other than at budget time. So we have very little control over what an elected official does. We have policies in place that the commissioners can or cannot follow if they want to or not. The elected official can or cannot follow. The only remedy that we have, if you don't want to be a team player, then come October and kind of sort of take care of that problem. That's how last resort. And then we get attacked, saying the commissioners, they don't want to give me money. They have it in for me. That vest issue, y'all had I don't need it now. I wasn't there, I wasn't invited. But those vests were approved in December. You didn't buy them. Why? I don't know what you're asking. So, I mean, and they blame me for a lot of things. I am the chief financial officer of Dimmit County. I take care of your money better than I take care of mine. I haven't looked at my financials in about 8 months. I look at Dimmit County's financials on a daily basis. And when I say, well, you did this, there's no way you can know. I've had citizens tell me, there's no way you can know how much this person made. We can tell you to the penny how much somebody made, how much somebody's supposed to make, how much somebody spent. We can tell you to the penny. That information is public information. That's the auditor's job. That's what he does on a daily basis. But I cannot do a lot of things that they blame me that I do. I am, well, I don't want to toot my own horn. My wife gets mad because I never toot my own horn. I take care of taxpayers' money. And come what may, based on my decisions, I don't care if I get elected out, I don't care. I'm going to make a decision that's in the best interest of the county, not any particular person. Sometimes my decisions help a person, sometimes they hurt another person. But I'm pretty often know that they pay me for it. That's on the farm room. People don't know that on the farm room. People come on to me all the time. People did this happen, they did this to them, they did. And I've been accused of 10 years. Nobody comes to me. And when things go south, they come to me and complain about things. I can only pass on the information forward and then let whoever needs to do their job, do their job. If it doesn't get done, I did my part. When I get information that I need to pass on to the proper authorities, I pass it on, and then after that, it's out of my hands. So there's very little things I cannot do. The sheriff's office is supposed to give us the information that we need. Like Mr. Gonzalez says, if we have a lot of trespasses, bail us, I don't know, I don't see them before my court. So how do I know they are in fact happening? I don't. I'm sure they are, but we're not getting the information. So I had a hard time because remember, I swore this young man in because if I catch him in a lie, I'm going to do something about it. I want to be a hypocrite and lie in this thing just because I want to be friends with my neighbors. So I held up. I lost sleep over it. Ended up in the hospital, because I want to protect my citizens. But how do I do that? And if anybody here can formulate something for me, how I'm going to take care of this problem, hey, come to my office, I'll buy you lunch, dinner, or whatever, and tell me how to do it. I'm here. The only thing that Mr. Gonzalez is correct. I narrow it down as best as I could so I can be as truthful as I possibly could with what I'm going to say here. Commissioner, if you all see it, a lot of people are telling me about human trafficking, and they're assuming that because people are or transporting other people, they're calling human trafficking. To me, human trafficking is somebody that's transported, stolen, or without their consent. But a lot of these people are traveling with consent. I have a problem calling them human trafficking because I'm an attorney. I take the words literally, and I have a legal definition a lot of times. But are there people transporting other people? Yes, that's happened forever. Or there are people that are being transported against their will? I'm sure there is. We've seen it happen. We've had it happen here in town. But can I say that every transport, illegal transport, is human trafficking? I mean, if you want to say that it's human trafficking because they're trafficking humans, okay, you're right. But legally, as a criminal offense, there's certain elements that have to be known. People who can say it's human trafficking. So when people ask me, as an example, people ask me, how much money does the county have? And I give them an answer. And then they say, well, that's not true. You said this. I said, well, yeah, but that person asked me what the fund balance was. How much money we have, how much money, what the fund balance is, what is the budget balance. All those things mean different things. So when you ask me a question, I answer your question, but you ask me the wrong question, because that's not what you wanted the answer to. So a lot of times, miscommunication, then they say, well, you lied. When you ask me what the fund balance is, the fund balance is one thing, and how much money we have is another thing. But I get attacked all the time. 20 years, get attacked all the time. And my only goal is to make sure that all of you are protected, regardless of race, color, creed, or religion. That's my point. Now, I don't know if you all looked at this. I really don't have too much of a problem with this. I just want people to know that we did it based on good faith. And if it's going to help in any slightest way, I'm for it. But I cannot fully and completely answer your question because there's a lot of unknowns until it happens. Okay? And once it happens, if it does happen, if the governor gives us money, the governor said, hey, I'm going to relax a lot of laws so that a lot of things can be done. Okay, that's fine and dandy. So he wants us to relax the law so that we can pump more money to the law enforcement sector. I don't think that's in the best interest. I'm an elected official. I do what my constituency does. There have been very few times that I've done something that I don't think is in the best interest of the public, because the public has me to do it. And sometimes I do it simply because I'm a public servant. I do what the constituency says, unless it's not in the best interest. Yes.
I'm just here on the emergency management side.
Hold on.
Excuse me real quick, can you turn the mic on? It's off.
It is on.
Thank you.
I'm just here in case you have any questions as far as where we can go with this declaration. I'm part of my state side with emergency management.
Okay.
If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, commissioners and judge.
Yes.
You know, when all this started, people were saying that Dimmit County is not doing a thing about it. As I can recall, about 3 years ago or so, when they first wanted to open that facility, we voted not to open it. We did take action. This time around, we just found out from day one to the other that it was open. So, what can we do? Nothing. If people will go and tell the owner, close this facility because you contributed to the problem, I always go. That's where the problem is. People are making money. And that's what it's all about. The mighty dollar. all about it. People go to buy groceries. People stay in the motels. Can we stop it? No. We can't stop it. By the time we follow an injunction, it will be 10 years from now before they even hear it. We're just going to be spending our money, wasting it. Jumping court, trying to get to court. My point is, ladies and gentlemen, we try. We do our best. We have always done our best. We protect you. My concern is protecting everybody in Dimmit County. Even not in Dimmit County. If they ask us for support or law enforcement in another county, by all means, see them. My concern is protecting the deputies. They're going to chase 100 miles an hour. Who's going to get hurt? They are. Who's going to get killed? They are. Does it bother me? Yes. And I keep telling the sheriff, if there's a chase, call it forward. Don't put your man at risk. The reason I'm saying this is because I used to be a law officer. I worked under the late Sheriff Murray. First thing he would tell us, don't get in a pursuit. Call it ahead, get close enough, get the license plate, even if it's a stolen car, pass it on. Turn around and come to your job protecting the residents. That's your job. Did we learn? Yes. We never got involved in it. We will follow them, call it forward, we stop them over there. Did any of us get hurt? And there was only 4 officers at that time. And we had the whole county. We had the whole county. And we survived. Right now we've got 34 officers, a whole bunch of patrolmen, state troopers, a whole bunch of border patrols. Will we survive? Yeah. Because they're there to protect us. If the governor wants to sing the National Guard, by all means, sing them. So my point is, we are doing the best we can. Anybody tells you otherwise, tell them, well, go to Commissioner's Court and find out what's going on. Then you know the answers. Otherwise, it's all going to be rumors, and we're going to look like the bad guys that we have been so far. Thank you.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was telling you about the only one time that I did something that I think we should have done was when we decided that facility. When they were first starting to open that facility, the one on Munson Road, they wanted the county to receive the facility. They were going to give it to us. And we were going to make $1 million, up to $1 million in rental payments out of that facility. That $1 million would save $1 million of taxpayers' money. But I had 400 people, over 400 people show up and tell me they didn't want it open. And I kept telling them, wait, they're bringing in 200 jobs. I have a lot of people that were there that would tell me we need to do something like bringing jobs. And they wanted to give the county the facility. And not only were they going to give us the facility, they were going to pay us they wanted to give me $500,000, but I'm a Jew. My wife calls me a Jew. I'm going to fight for everything I can. So I wanted to get $1 million, and I was almost there. But that was not really why I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be part of it because if I am the landlord, guess what? When they came back here and said, oh, we want to open the facility again, guess what? They have to come to me. They have to come to me and I have control over it. And guess what? They can't keep me out because it's my land. So my contract is going to say, I'm going to go check you out whenever I can. But now, I'm on the outside. I can't go in there. They won't let people go in there unless you're a senator or a president or governor or whatever. They don't let them in. The other day I heard a room, they said that they won't even let an ambulance go out there. There was a 911 call. I said, I want to see them keep me out of that facility if somebody is having a problem. Okay? But I made a decision based on 400 some odd people that were in my courtroom telling me that they didn't want the facility. I thought it was a mistake, but I went ahead and did it because the 450 people that Dimmit County that cared about it were there and they were expressing their views. But if they would have given it to the county, right now we'd probably be making $1, $2, $3 million, and I would have control of what's going on. I would have inspections. I would have a lot of things. But I am in the outside right now. I didn't. I think, and I might have lied. I might have inadvertently lied because they asked me, when did you first find out about this? I said, I don't know, like February. We looked through our emails and we had a notice back in sometime in January. But I was trying to fight COVID. I really didn't care that they sent me a notice. I was trying to get better. So the first time I heard about it was after they had already opened it. And that's what I remember. That's what I said. That my office had received a notice sometime in January, like January 21st. I was still under the effects of COVID. I was trying to get better, and I was just I think you asked me. It was the first time I told her. I didn't know until afterwards what I liked to do. My office knew. I didn't know. I didn't know. I don't think I even cared anything about that at the time because I was afraid to die. So I just want you to know because I didn't want to call you and tell you that. Yes, sir.
If there's time, may I make a few comments to the court? If there's some time, may I make a few comments to the court?
That's why we called you when they opened on the, you go ahead.
Testing. Okay. So we know that number one, that this is a touchy issue for everybody. We know that it's one issue that a lot of people don't want to talk about, and especially as our elected officials, it can be even more difficult because you're dealing with so many people and so many concerned citizens. So we heard a lot of things here today. Again, I'm not representing any organization. I'm just here as a concerned citizen, and I heard a lot about hearsay. I don't say anything hearsay. What we want to do is talk about facts because we're in the community. We have a church. We have a local business. We see people every single day. We've taken it upon ourselves to go to meetings in Bracketville, in Del Rio. We're going to Del Rio again today because Greg Abbott's going to be there. We're connecting with big name people who are telling us what's going on. Retired Border Patrol, law enforcement. You know, Marion Boyd, he's not here. I wasn't aware he wasn't going to be here. I was hoping he was. But again, and during the beginning, I heard a lot of, I don't know, we don't know, and we understand the top-down chain of command. We understand that perfectly. But again, as an elected official, it should be your duty to know. If you're hearing that people are concerned here, if you're hearing, again, I'm saying respectfully, sirs and ma'am, if you're hearing that so many people are concerned, you should be asking, what are people saying?
Yes.
What are people saying? And I think the writer's saying.
Better.
What are people saying? How can we get the information? Because just like you, I would be concerned about what people are saying if it's negative towards every single one of you. I know that y'all are trying to do your best. You're telling us you're doing your best, and we'll take that at face value if you're doing your best because we want to give you the opportunity.
It's not that we don't know what's going on. It's not that we don't know what's going on. It's, I told you clearly, my door's open to you at any time, and I give you my card. And so, whatever information I hear out there, I do respond to the people, to the citizens. It's not that I don't know what's going on. I can tell them for a fact that yes, there is a problem in this or that. I'm not shying away from the public, and I'm not trying to hold myself behind my office because my door is open 24 hours a day, same as I respond on emergencies. I have never shut down anybody not to come talk to me or try to help them in any way. So I do know what's going on. But what we're talking about numbers, we're talking about official numbers that are coming from out there. The information that we're getting from the sheriff's office might be totally different than us. And I'm not blaming the sheriff. But all I'm telling you is, when I speak to the citizens, I speak with clarity. I'm very, very transparent. And that's one thing that I have. So, and I'm pretty sure that the commissioners are the same and the judge. But for you to say that we don't address the public, that is wrong. We do address the public.
When have any of y'all come out publicly to the whole community, newspaper, anywhere, to let us know what's going on? Not just your office, sir, and again, I'm being respectful because I know that you have tried, I've had conversations with you. My point is, again, if we know that this, and we know that this is one of the biggest problems that we have faced in 2021, if other counties are having to struggle, especially Del Rio, which is ground zero,
But you gotta look at the difference. We're 45 miles from the border.
but should that really matter, sir, if we're
Hold on,
concerned?
But here's what we're gonna talk about, okay? There's immigration crisis on the border. Yes, the border getting hit because they're only maybe, what, quarter of a mile from each other? Yes, everything coming through there and it's coming through here. But from here, they're not walking across through town. They're being transported, which is a difference. Transportation and walking. Yes, they come and walk through the ranches and do, some of them might do wrong and some of them might just keep going. But again, when you mentioned that the border was a crisis, yes, the border is a crisis. So is Dimmit County. But look at the difference in mileage. Look at how they're being transported. We saw everybody with that on those vacuum trucks. And they're dying, and sometimes they don't find them. But how hard it is for another town like San Antonio, when they were looking for the vacuum truck, there were all 200 and something people died, and they never found it. So my point is that the border is a crisis and it's coming through here. But there's two ways that they'll do it. They're walking or being transported. So we are looking into that. So that's what I say. And I'm not getting after you. It's just,
That's completely fine if you want to.
No,
I don't have a problem
I don't
with that.
make it sound like, but I speak clearly.
Okay, and I appreciate that, and everything that you're saying, I completely understand. And you said your door's open,
On the public.
and then I know y'all would agree that your doors are open as well, but not everybody is going to go to your door because they work, or even call, sir.
Sir,
Maybe you'll hear it from us.
I've answered
but
phone calls,
everybody.
8 o'clock, 10 o'clock at night, and even midnight. I always answer my phone.
Sure. And I appreciate that. Can every one of y'all say the same
I
as
have a
well?
question.
Yes, sir.
Let's be clear about what our goal is here. What is it that you're okay? And now, and just to be honest with you, I came in January, so I'm trying to capture as much as I can. And once again, in January I came in, I didn't find out about the second night camp until there was trucks coming in and out delivering material. And constituents started calling me about the traffic.
Yeah, because it's close to it.
Right, so I was assuming the oil field was expanding. Once I got out there, I realized what was going on. And I believe right around that time, I remember I was going to contact the judge, but the judge was actually ill. He was going through COVID stuff, so I went and started asking questions. But for a fact, this is the sheriff knew about the first man camp even before they opened because they were already providing security service for them.
Sure.
So once they decided to open, I mean, I think there's a lack of communication here. For example, if I'm the sheriff, I knew, hey, I just got called, they're going to need 4 more officers out there. I'm going to contact the judge and the county commissioner and say, hey, we need to let our people know. I had no clue of it. And I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to defend anybody, I'm just saying, based on what, the problem here, Mr. Perez, is that when anybody approaches Commissioner's Court and says, well, Commissioner's Court didn't approve it, it affects everybody. And we put our heads together and we try to make the best possible decision. But it's a problem because a lot of times we're addressed with hearsay, and it is hearsay. A lot of things you've been talking about.
What about what is posted online?
See, you better than anybody would know that social media is only half true.
Sure.
Okay?
But I'm talking about the sheriff's department, though.
Yeah,
I'm not talking about my Facebook or anyone
I can
else.
look at the sheriff's department, okay, and you've seen all those pictures and all those, why are they not on the report that he turned in?
Sure, then that's a good question. Again, we would ask, why aren't the reports everywhere?
Because that's where we have to make the decision based on the reports, black and white, here it is, because that goes to prosecution. But teachers, I mean, let's be honest here, I can take pictures and put them on social media.
And another thing is, you and I had the discussion after Commissioner's Court on the vest issue. and I let you know, I said, if you knew that, well, we didn't know at that time, but if you know that the new administration is coming, and as a president and all that, and you figure that they're gonna start opening the borders or whatever they're doing, you have time, and I told you this clearly, you have time to start setting out, what do I need for my man? What do I need to do to protect my families? We're only here to try and keep them safe. But my part right there would have been, okay, we're getting bigger now, with a bigger issue. What do I need to do? Don't come on the month before, well, I need those vests. No, you had time to come in and address the commissioner's court. We never said no, we're still waiting. But as a person in charge, that's what would you do? I would have done that, and I'm not a law enforcement officer. But I think of what am I gonna need for my guys, as an example, just for the fire department, I start working it on right away. Because not every fire is the same. Same issue here. Not every call is the same. But you have ample time to think about what's going on where the elections are in the Democrat or Republican. But if you knew that they were going to start doing what they were going to do. And that gave you time. Not wait till the last minute.
Mr. Perez, let me ask you one thing.
Yes, sir.
You said that we're supposed to let the public know, or is that how you said it?
I would think that if there was a concern that we should be notified in any way possible, because I'm only speaking because so many people aren't going to. So.
Before I forget,
Okay, go ahead.
I'm old. That's clear. Our job is not law enforcement. Right? My job is to fix those county roads. To keep the public safety on the roads. That's my job. That's the only thing I gotta worry about. If something else comes up, we hear it here, we'll take action. When people ask me, what are you doing about these problems? What you're doing, trying to get information. Basically, what can we do? Nothing. Like I said, we're not law enforcement. We're just here to make decisions for the county. That's it. How am I going to go arrest somebody if I don't have a badge, if I don't have a gun, or I can even prosecute or whatever? How am I going to do the other stuff? My job, the county works. That's it. I cannot interfere with law enforcement. I cannot interfere with anybody else.
To add to that, when we say we don't know, it means we have no personal knowledge of what they're saying happens out there. Do we inquire? Yeah, we inquire, but it's still not information that's given to us on the road. That's the sheriff's duty and responsibility to give us the information so we can take action.
So are you suggesting that we continue to ask this?
Hold on. So do we ask them? Yes, we do. Do we get it? No, we don't. Mr. Gonzalez River turns back a lot of cases, and they just say, well, it is what it is. They don't bother to fix it. It's their job to fix it, not Mr. Gonzalez's job is to tell them, hey, this is deficient. It's not their job to fix it. If somebody tells me we have an ongoing problem, I can't go out there and investigate. That puts me as a witness. I can't do that. Everybody's got their duties and responsibility. That's the sheriff's responsibility, not ours. So when we say we don't know, we don't know. And not because we don't want to know. Now, do we let people know? Yeah, we post the agenda. We put it on our website. Then it is your duty, your responsibility as a citizen to come in and find out what's going on. My duty is to put it on the newspaper, because then if I come to you and say, Mr. Perez, look here, then he's going to say, well, why did you give it to him and not to me? There's 10,280 people in Dimmit County. The only thing I can do is shoot everybody saying, put it on the agenda, and please, my website says, comments or counsel, whatever. I do not answer anything on the computer. If you need any information, come to my office, set up an appointment, I'll make time, I'll listen to what you have to say, but I will not answer anything on the computer. Because if we do, we let ourselves open to a lot of viruses and a lot of things, so then we start getting people comments, people that we don't know, and I am not going to respond on the computer. If you want something to do, you want to put on the computer, I need to talk to you, we'll send you, and if I can confirm who it is, I'll probably call you and say, did you email me this yet? Then we'll probably email you something, say, you'll have appointment this time. Well, all of us will make ourselves available to anybody that wants to communicate with us. So that's our practice.
Okay, and I'm going to pass it over to her again. I just want to take 1 minute because again, we're trying to hear your side, and we're trying to get as many people to do exactly what you're saying, is go to the city council meetings, call the sheriff, call your local officials, come to the commissioner's court. Once again, the reason why we're here is because since we began in March, asking, emailing, calling, and making trips was to find out, because we weren't going to say your side personally wasn't going to do that, because I'm not that type of person, and the people in our group aren't that way either who are joining us. But when it comes again to the things that have been happening in our community, the sheriff himself, and again, if you're saying there's, the issues here, the miscommunication, he was interviewed on Channel 4 News talking about all the things that have been happening in Dimmit County, all the car chases, the people they're apprehending. In Channel 4 News, Alejandro Guzman, this was back in April, it went public. I even posted so more people can see, so they can understand this is the information happening. This is not my opinion, this is what is being reported. What's happening, again, on Facebook, I want to say if you get news from Facebook, I personally understand that you get news everywhere. But what our source of a lot of the information is being put up by the Sheriff's Department on Facebook for Dimmit County and Zavala, and we know that those are just portions of the reports that are coming out. That's not including the things that are not being reported and the people that are being affected, especially in our community. Furthermore, we had the opportunity to tour in the first facility by the studios, and you can ask the sheriff about that. We were escorted, we toured that facility. They're max capacity. They're self-sustaining. I'm not talking about the second one. All I've personally been hearing reports about that second facility is that there's a lot of issues.
Self-sustaining, how are they self-sustaining?
Self-sustaining in the sense that they're not required to dip into the community is what they said.
Well, they're not dipping in the community, but they're using Carrillo water issue, correct?
So other than that, yes, they did say that.
Our county deputies as security.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So
They are there. I've seen them, I'm not going to name them. but I've seen them.
No, I wouldn't consider that self-sustaining. Self-sustaining is everything goes through this county.
And it stays here.
It stays in.
And again, those are the things that we saw personally. And I'm here to attest to that. Number one, with the first facility, they're at max capacity. When they started back in February, which was when it was reactivated, February 22nd, that's when we saw it on the news. Gabriel Gutierrez from MSNBC came to Dimmit County in order to report on that. That's public. You can go look for it, MSNBC Gabriel Gutierrez. And he gave the breakdown. They only had males at that time, from 7 to 17, I believe, if I remember correctly, all males, and it was max capacity. But now, what's happening, according to the director, is they're being taken straight over to these facilities because they just don't have the manpower. So now they have infants from the age of 2 all the way to the ages of 17, and now they're male and female. They're bringing COVID. They're being tested for that. Now, from what we could tell, they are being taken care of at this facility. They're non-profit, called BCFS, and they do disaster relief. They don't do this type of thing. They help whenever there's a disaster. They set up shelters. They give funds. But they don't do this type of thing. They were contracted out to do this because there's just too many children. We're told the buses that you see day in and day out, that's staff and children coming through, and they're being taken there. They're processed. We were allowed to see their control room that shows what they're actually going through. The majority of these children, they are being brought across, but a majority of them are being abused as they're coming across. Now, we couldn't confirm if there was...
If they're being abused and they're in these facilities, and we've got sheriff personnel working at those facilities, then why aren't they doing reports so that we can try to find out?
Sure, well, let me finish. I didn't say they're being abused at the facility. On their journey over here, the majority are being abused.
But who's taking the reports once they get here?
I do not know that information. So All I was able to see is it's classified under what's called historical, and that basically means that they go through some traumatic experience on the way over here. It could be abuse, it could be something with a trafficker, coyote, it doesn't matter what it is. But they log it, they're there for a certain period of time, and when you see these buses in the afternoon, they're being shipped to go fly to put with their sponsor. And I can share a lot more on that, but you know, I want to desist, but my point is that what we have here, again, these facilities, they're going to keep encouraging more of it to happen. For this facility that we toured, we couldn't find proof of sexual abuse. They seemed like they have everything together. The gentleman was very kind. But we were told they can't say the same thing about protocols in the second facility. Not only that, he shared with us that it's for-profit. So if they're for-profit, then whatever they're doing over there, which we have no answers to, then apparently that means that they're making profit out of being here. And I'm not saying more about that because I'm sure that we understand what that means for the community if they dip into the community. So all I know to say is we do know that there's a problem. We know that there is proof. And again, if y'all are not aware of that, okay, we'll accept that. Let's work together to make our community know that so that they feel that they're taken care of, that they're made well, that you have our safety and our welfare in mind. Like you said, Judge, if that's the truth, then we'll take that. We'll believe it. And let's move on it. One of the things that will help us really believe that is signing this. Del Rio, as I mentioned, which is ground zero, they have not signed it yet. Back in January, I believe, I have it here, the actual website, that there was 18 counties at that time that signed this disaster relief. Now it's over that. So we're one of the last few counties. If we do this, we will be leading in that. Hopefully, to be an example to Del Rio, to be an example maybe to Zavala and the other counties, in order to get what we need here for our community to make sure that this stops. You said solutions. What's the solution? The border needs to be closed. That's with our president. We know that's not your fault. That's our president. Those are policies. We need to stop the illegal immigration. That's what we need to do. We need to stop and shut down these asylum shelters because there's so many coming over. We won't be able to handle all the children that are coming over here. And there's potential, what's going to happen to them later if they're not processed? Are they staying here? If they stay here, are they being put in our schools? If that's the case, then we're going to deal with a lot more issues. So we're here to help you as well, to let you know that these are the potential threats that are facing our community, and we want to do something about it. Not necessarily just point fingers and say, look who's not doing something about it. If that's the case, let's then do something about it so our citizens can know. I don't know what's happening in Zavala, I don't know what's happening in Del Rio or Lopetegui, but I do know what's happening in Dimmit County. And our elected officials, they care and they're doing something about it. If we can do that, I mean, you have our voice to say, listen, Governor Abbott. When we go, listen, Governor Abbott. Our elected officials are taking this seriously. And if you don't do something about it because he has the power to do it, then you're going to hear a whole lot more from Dimmit County until something is done. So
That's where I have a problem because you make the statement, I know, you don't know, you believe that I know and I believe are two different things. I know is you see the actual trespass, you actually get information to prove that Danny trespassed into my property.
If we were to get reports and have people sign those reports of the things that they're experiencing, would that help? If we were to say, today, can we get proof of that?
We need for you to tell it to the sheriff, so the sheriff can investigate.
So they put pressure on the sheriff.
Yeah.
Let me answer that question.
Okay.
What I tell everybody else, and I'm going to tell you all that are present as well, when you call an officer out, you get a case number, all right? You get a card of the officer that came and a case number. I don't know how many people have come to my office and said, well, I made a report. They don't give them a case number, the officer doesn't do a report, there's no case, there's nothing for me to prosecute. You come to my office with a case number and a card of the officer, I'm calling the sheriff department, on this date, they reported this incident, I want the case. Do I get it all the time? No. They say, oh, well, we didn't do it. All right, fine, there's no case. I tell the person that comes to my office, there is no case. And to answer your question, Mr. Pettis, about keeping the people informed, those of you that remember our small commissioners court, we couldn't include enough people. When they built this new courthouse, it was to include more people in our meetings. Just turn around and look at how many people showed up today. A lot of people don't show up and don't keep themselves informed. The judge is correct. Our duty is to post the agendas, and if they want to come address an issue, they can sign up under public comment and make a comment. But, and specifically to answer your question, well, who do we ask for more answers? Do you want us to go ask the sheriff? That's up to you. If you feel that you need more answers from the sheriff, we can't tell you, go ask the sheriff what's happening. The other thing I want to address is, well, we heard it on Channel 4 News, we heard it somewhere else. Well, why isn't the sheriff coming to Commissioner's Court and telling us those same things? We're not hearing that from the sheriff.
And I wasn't aware of that.
We're just like the general public. Somebody said, oh, did you see the sheriff from Channel 4? Oh, did you see the sheriff from Channel 5? Did you see the sheriff from Channel 12? You know, look at all that's going on in Dimmit County. Well, it's interesting. That is not being addressed, those issues with Commissioner's Court and what else is needed to assist or deter the problem. That's not being voiced to our Commissioner's Court. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have illegals on my property, I'm calling Border Patrol. And so is it better if I call the Sheriff's Department? Because I can get a case number because I'm calling Border Patrol.
Well,
I mean,
it depends. You know, if there was some damage, they're going to detain somebody and you want a case report, then you're going to have call the Sheriff's Department for a criminal trespass report, or if there was criminal mission. But I'm going to tell you what I've told a lot of people in this situation, ranchers or big property owners. The chances of me prosecuting those people are slim to none because I don't get the reports, or I can't find them when I do get them. And I understand that you paint your fences with the purple signs, international sign of no trespassing. I had that discussion with the DPS trooper yesterday. You know, give me something, hold them here, find somewhere to hold them so that I can try to prosecute these people. Give them credit for time served, 10 days in county jail, they got a conviction. Yes, sir.
Trespassing affects the value, use, enjoyment, and marketability.
Yes,
So
sir.
that is a crime.
It is. Now, what I have told ranchers in the past about the trespassing and the biggest situation that it puts our public in danger, they're cutting fences, running through your fences. Cattle are getting out on the highways. You know, that's not only a problem to a landowner, it's a problem to the general public because if a cow gets out and they hit a cow, who do they come after? The landowner. All right. Now, the other issue is when they're coming through your fences, and I keep telling people over and over, if the driver is not an illegal alien and it's not a stolen vehicle, which in most cases it is, find out if that vehicle from the Sheriff's Department, come to a report, find out if there's insurance, file a claim. You know, maybe if the insurance companies start feeling a hit with people filing claims for repairs of their damaged fences or any other issues, and even if there is no damage and you can't find somebody else to go after to collect for the damage to your fence, I'd say report to your insurance anyways. It was cut by illegals, it came across. If somebody gets hurt, that might keep you from being liable for that individual. It wasn't your fault. You're an innocent owner who did not fail to maintain their fence lines, and this was caused by illegal activity or trespass. Did I answer your question? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, I just want to make a comment in reference to that you mentioned that there was very little people here for support of the issues that we're addressing. Well, the thing is that a lot of us work. We had to put our business. I know Janelle, had somebody working at her business and she was able to get away, but we closed, so that's another reason why probably you don't have the turnout that you wish that should have been. But a lot of people don't want to get involved. They don't want their voice to be heard because they don't want, to be out there, But we will begin to rally more people.
I feel that,
to show up.
And there's a word we use sometimes in criminal cases, retaliation. The more people that rally and make this issue aware to the public in our community, it upsets some people. And then when you realize who is getting upset, you're going to realize maybe this is what it is. You're not upsetting us. We appreciate the fact that you're concerned and you want this resolution passed, I'm not opposed to your right to this resolution. I want it brought from Mexico, any Latin American countries, any other countries, because sometimes we get people from Pakistan, from China, from,
That's what we're doing it right now.
and, you know, and they're not just kids.
And if you're waiting, like, what I think is gonna happen, I want you to be my messenger.
The other thing I'm hearing, and you probably get into, well, it's only going to be until August, and then we'll go back to normal. You know, that's the latest thing I'm hearing. You know, they should be shutting down the man camps or these children's camps by August, and then we'll be back to normal, and you won't have anything to worry about. No, you know, this problem has been around ever since I was a kid. My dad had a ranch in Ashton. Our fences were cut also. They ran through gates.
But never like this, or let me interrupt you if I may, never like this. You've got over 60 countries represented right now. It's not just Mexico.
Right.
Like you said, they're coming from Salvador, they're coming from Honduras. And some of these kids, they're in guerrillas at the age of 5, and they know how to use a weapon.
Or they're sending them over because they don't want them to be in the guerrillas. They don't want their daughters raped. They don't want any violence. I understand the family aspect of why the parents are concerned. They've got a family in the United States, and you know, maybe if we can get them safely there, they're protected, they can have a normal life. Because the only place they're going to get that is in the United States. But people, you know, the motto has always been, we're here with open arms, and look at the Statue of Liberty, and look at that language, but it comes to a point where it's affecting the people, the actual born citizens in Dimmit County and other counties of the United States. But then again, you all have been on vacation. You go to vacation, you go to Vegas, you go to Florida, you go anywhere else. Who's working those places? Illegals. Who's doing the landscaping in San Antonio? Who's doing the landscaping in Houston? Who's doing the landscaping in Dallas? Why aren't those companies hiring those illegal aliens being shut down? Why? Because we don't have enough people to work.
We do, but we're spoiled here in the United States.
They don't want to work. You're getting stimulus money, you're getting Social Security, you know, why work? You know, when I was young working in the fields with my grandfather, a number of people said, hey, we're only working till noon because it's going to affect my benefits. And they do.
I know, that's a United States citizen.
Yeah, a lot of people want cash underneath so they don't have to report it. And, you know.
A lot of corruption.
All right, we have this young lady here, ma'am. I need to remind you that, even though I'm not going to ask you to raise your right hand, that any statement that you make to this tribunal, you do so under penalty of perjury, that is, that if you do make any misrepresentation, we find out about it.
Yes, sir. I understand. Thank you. My name is Kaylani Perez. Many of you already are well known who I am. I am not a speaker, but I am a note taker. So you see me a lot at the meetings in the back. So I am very thankful, Judge Ponce, that you did agree to meet with me and my husband prior to this. I appreciate the fact that you took the time to give us a private meeting. And you did share with us that there were 34 deputies, 4 constables, and 18 DPS officers in Carrizo Springs, more or less. So that was because you didn't have the accurate, like the paper, the numbers in front of you. So I know you were giving me the numbers to the best of your ability. So I thank you for that. You also quoted that there were 2 security on patrol for the county, more or less, again.
Two security in the courthouse?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. So that being said, let me
Can
go.
I lie? Because it's 3 really. We have 3, right?
Yeah, for rotation, one has to go off for vacation, and they alternate.
Okay, thank you. Yes, sir, thank you. And so we did have the privilege of going to the first facility, which is the studios. And so there they do have 50 personnel, 80 LEOs, which are law enforcement officers, you guys are aware of that, and 3 federal officers as well. So again, it was stated that there was a concern made by Attorney Gonzalez that there were officers who were working at this facility. And that is true. I know I'm under oath and I will state that because I saw it with my own eyes. I'm willing to write a written statement, whatever it takes. So the fact is, yes, it's true. If they are overworked, how are they fulfilling their duties here to the citizens of Carrizo Springs? I agree with you 100% as well on that. The director of BCFS also said, and you can take this up with him, is that he said all elected officials were notified. So that's again from BCFS, the director. So if that's something that he said, that's something that does need to be corrected so that the citizens are well informed that the county officials were not made aware of this.
I don't know if the commissioners were, but like I said, my first letter that I got that they were going to open was January 20-something, but I think I was still at the house.
Okay.
But then in February, we got another one in February, and then we're doing this,
And I won't mention any names or anything from the facilities. I mean, you can look this gentleman up. He's very well known. He does work for BCFS. He took the time to come down and meet with us as we toured the facilities. That being said, they did not inspect the building before selling it. The contract was open to still be used with another contractor in June. And we can also thank Will Hurd, who directed HHS to the Carrizo facility to be used because it was on warm status. So I just want to bring everybody here up to date with the information that we were provided, so that way it's not hearsay. We're not saying, well, I believe this, I believe that. I'm quoting you from the information that was given directly to me and those that toured the facility. So it was on warm status, which meant if it was active, to become activated again. So, again, like my husband stated before, that this was a nonprofit. They do primarily work with FEMA, hurricane, natural disasters, that sort of thing. But the second facility is a for-profit. There are a lot of concerns about that particular facility, not just from private citizens, but others who have come. Again, we have a business, we're out in the community. Those who have shared and confided with us their concerns as well. But the second shelter does not follow the same contingency plans as the first shelter does. That is very worrisome because they are dealing with children. I work with children. I love working with children. I work at the school. I'm part of a program here for the community. You guys may have seen me, with the program that I'm involved in. I'm not going to name anything. I don't want to elevate myself or try to promote anything. Yes, sir.
Yes. When you talk about one facility, then the second
The
facility
first-
would be the one on Lenda Road,
The
correct?
first facility is the studios. The second facility is the one, yes, sir.
The Vanderbilt Road, the opposite direction.
On the other side.
Yes,
There's two on the other side.
Yeah, that's why I call it where you're,
Within that road, we come out there with.
so that's the second facility.
That's the second facility that is for profit.
So that's in compliance,
That's the one that does not have that does not follow the same contingency that is the first facility, which is the studios. So the studios, we did have the opportunity to walk through, and they do follow everything because they have rules and guidelines and regulations that they need to follow. So that being said, the studios, the length of days to be released is 9 to 12 days. I don't know if that has changed because of the influx of children that are coming. That being said, I know that it was mentioned here. So I just wanted to give you that information so that way you guys are up to date with the information that we have. Again, he did state that they were notified. I would go and correct that if the citizens weren't informed. Yes, sir.
Gentleman's name? It said he notified our...
Can I say it on the record? His name is Kevin Dimmit. He is the director for BCFS, and he came down to meet with us. I just wanted to be sure that we could say names.
His last name was what?
Dimmit.
How do you spell it?
I believe it's D-I-N-N-O-N or D-I-N-N-I-N.
For the record, I was not contacted. I only had one contact from a representative, and that was demanding that the county pave the Monsoon Road.
Okay.
And I told them, I can't recommend that to Commissioners Court, that we use taxpayers' monies to help a private facility do their job. And they said, well, you're going to be reimbursed by the federal government. Will you review the contract? I said, I'll review the contract if I'm asked to by Commissioner's Court. But again, I don't know if I can still recommend it if we're using taxpayers' money. It's a county road.
Yes.
If we're repairing a county road and we have the funds and we're going to get reimbursed, we may want to take advantage of it. But then my next question is, how long is that facility going to be open, and who's going to maintain that road during the process that you're using it, when your buses are coming through and your personnel,
Yes, sir.
why should it be the responsibility while you're operating on the county?
Yes, sir.
We were gonna, it was already programmed even before this thing started to be paid. What they wanted us to do was to set aside what we were doing and pay that one first before anything else, and that they were gonna reimburse us the money and so.
When we have other roads here in the community.
We said no.
Yes.
I told them no. We're gonna follow the schedule and whatever.
Yes, sir.
Whenever it's turned to pave it, we're gonna pave it because we had already planned to pave it.
Yes, sir. I understand. I understand.
That's what they wanted us to do. We told them.
Yes, sir. And Mr. Uranda, Commissioner Uranda, you did bring up the water issue and that is an issue with Loma Blanca. Again, we did address that with the director, purchasing water. And I know that's not a county issue. I believe it's a city issue. And I have requested under the Freedom of Information Act, I have been going and I have been trying to get the information. What I understand is that there might, I don't know where the written contract is with that. I did bring it the attention to Mr. Denon, Director of BCFS, about that issue because there were many citizens who lived on Loma Blanca Drive who were having water pressure issues, who were having other issues with their water. And so they were coming from the first facility. It was confirmed that they were purchasing it, and that the director said if it started to affect the citizens of the community and their resources, that they would have to go and outsource the water from somewhere else. I do not know if that has happened. I do not know if they're still getting water. And again, I have already requested the information. I'm very thankful that Mr. Garcia was so quick to get the information I requested from the county. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the effort that was made, because every time I do send a request, you guys do try to get that information. Again, I'm not a speaker. I work with numbers. I work with the information presented. But I also would like to say there wasn't the declaration disaster in the newspaper. It wasn't put on the county website. I know the county website, I think the last time there were issues.
We're in the process of changing our provider and
Yes, sir.
changing our website. We've had a lot of problems with.
Yes, sir.
We try to post the law says we have to post them with so many times that we were not meeting because the guy that was doing it for us was not.
Yes, sir.
We had a hard time.
Yes, and I agree. It does need to be corrected as soon as possible. I'm a person who takes advantage of technology. I understand that, computers and things like many people don't like to use them. I take advantage of that in the sense to keep myself informed. I do visit the county website. I try to get all the information so that way I'm not caught off guard. I know that I know that you guys don't like being caught off guard either. So I have tried to connect with many individuals, the phone lines. Yes,
I
sir.
thought we had put the declaration on our website.
The declaration was sent to the website, but since it's down, it hasn't been put up, but it was sent to social media since it was only the 7-day declaration. Now, once we sign this declaration and for however how many days the Commissioner's Court does decide to do it, if that's going to be the case, then we go ahead and we put it in the newspaper and we send it up to the state.
All right, our directors,
great.
we try to put them up as soon as we can.
Yes, sir.
But we won't publicize it until we pass the oath.
Yes.
I think the first one we could put in the paper because it was Wednesday, that's when the newspaper comes out.
Yes.
So it was late.
Yes, and I was told that as well, that there's a deadline, so I'm trying to inform myself and I'm taking all your suggestions. I'm trying to inform myself in the way things work. So if the newspaper isn't put out, if there's something that needs for the citizens to be notified, I understand, technology is great, but not everybody has it. So I know that there are many who do still get the paper, many who do use that source of information to keep themselves informed and to share it with others. So all that being said and done, I do think it would be in the best interest for the citizens of Carrizo Springs to extend the declaration. There's a saying, I'm sure everybody in this room is familiar, better safe than sorry.
Yes.
So that's all I have to say. That's what I want to leave you with. If there's anything else that I can give you, share with you, I would like to leave the door of communication open between the citizens like myself and the Commissioner's Court with the city of Carrizo. So I'm very thankful that you guys gave me this opportunity to speak. I look forward to speaking with you as well on these further issues. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Anytime you need information or whatever, go ahead and get a hold of us.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not afraid to speak up or say what I feel. And if you can call 4234-87632. 4234.
Yes, sir.
And our secretary works there.
Yes, sir.
For all the commissioners, it's a totally different secretary than from the judges.
Yes.
And just tell her you need to get a hold of me, and my phone number is 876-6215. And Mr. Garza knows it, and he always gets a hold of me whenever there's something wrong. So, feel free to call
If it's not too much to ask while I'm up here, if you guys can please give me your name, your numbers, if there's another way to connect with you, because I did try to go, I'm not going to point any fingers or say, I know that you guys have been working on the website, you've been working on the phone lines. I was here at the last Commissioner's Court where they said the phone lines were also being worked on. I was calling, so I ended up having to come. Mr. Garcia got my information. I'm thankful, but that's what I was trying to do. So again, the extensions that I was trying to reach, and it was the old website.
Okay,
That was.
that courthouse messed up with the phone lines. And
Yes,
everything,
sir.
so,
Yes.
if you want to communicate with anybody, just call my office.
Yes, sir.
And we'll get you straight.
I think it's better that we clear that up, that we make the ways to communicate with one another open, so that way we don't have, my comadre said this, my compadre said this, and this and that and the other. I completely understand, because I deal with facts as well. I don't like dealing with hearsay. Again, I'm sympathetic to the things that are happening in our community, and they've happened to myself. And I'm a mother of 2 young children, 2 young boys, and I'm just trying to raise them as best as I can in the world that is turning upside down. So I know that many of you have grandchildren and children, because I've worked with them. So I know that you guys have the same concerns that I do as a citizen here in Carrizo Springs. Not just for ourselves, because we're adults, we can take care of ourselves. I'm talking about the children that I have to walk back and forth from on the side streets of Carrizo. So there are, you guys have seen it, there are car chases, those things do affect the children as we're walking them across. So I do want to bring that to the attention of the Commissioner's Court. I'm sure many already have. Yes, sir.
I would like to say something, and this is in
Sure.
regards to Minister Perez and what y'all are representing, which I greatly appreciate.
Thank you.
Just to let you know, I'm born and raised in Korea,
Yes.
and my family lived adjacent to the second mine camp, and that's the one mine camp I've been more familiar with because it's the recent one. One thing that I have noticed and realized, and just what I've gathered, kind of the same way you have, is for example, the forum y'all held a while back at your location.
Yes, sir.
In my opinion, it'd be a lot more beneficial as a community if the questions that come up and people concerned
Yes, sir.
come up in a commissioner's court where there's documents noted, where there's people under oath,
Yes, sir.
versus, and this is just my opinion, in a open forum like that, there was only so many people there. And I can personally say I wasn't aware of the forum until I saw it on Facebook. I wasn't invited to it, but the sheriff was there, a couple of local officials were there, and there was a lot of questions that came up that really there was no clear answers. I realized there was some finger pointing,
Yes, sir.
and that's just by going by what was actually said. And that's where you gain more miscommunication,
I
I want to
agree.
say.
Yes, sir.
Because people that are there are listening to something that one individual is wanting to say, not what is actually said in court. When you say something important, it's something that you have to actually have backup. It's not just somebody's opinion.
May I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Okay, thank you for that comment, sir. And yes, it was implied that it was for open for the public at our location, which is Grace of God Community Church, which is where we held it because there wasn't any availability at any other location at the time that we were trying to organize this event. And so it was implied that it was open to the public, but yes, now that we can communicate back and forth more on a personal level, I will make sure that every single individual here at Commissioner's Court anytime that we hold an organization or any type of event that you guys will be notified. It was just implied that it was open for the public, so I apologize for that. But I did want to bring it to your attention that it was an open and public event. If I can make a suggestion as well.
Well, let me tell you
Go
this,
ahead,
let me
sir.
tell you about that.
Yes, sir.
If you give me a flyer that says open to the public, I'm not gonna show up.
So how would I, what's the best way,
If
sir?
you invite me as an elected official, I'll take my IT man,
Okay.
I'll take all my information, I'll take my records.
Yes, sir.
Like the records that I gave you.
Yes, sir.
I'll take them with me, and let me give you one, and then I would have put it on you can have this for your time.
Permission to go?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I would have taken my IT man, I would have taken my TV, and I would have put the documents so everybody could see the questions that, especially if you give me the questions beforehand, I can prepare. Then I just happened to run across it because we had approved some trucks for the sheriff like 6 months ago, 7 months ago. We were having a hard time getting equipment because of the
Yes.
COVID. So, and I happened to see when we approved the vest back in December, and if you call me and invite me as an elected official, then I
Yes.
can take my resources. But if you say, here, we're going to do this, I'm not going to show up because I'm going to be talking out of my head and I'm
Sure.
going to give you misinformation. But if you invite me, like I've said hundreds of times, a lot of people complain about the taxes. People don't know how it works. But if you get 300 people out there for me, I'll get you the controllers from the state of Texas, I'll get you the appraisal district, I'll get you Mario, I'll get you everybody and anybody that knows about the taxes so we can answer each and every question. But I get those questions once a year by 1 or 2, 3 people,
Yes, sir.
and nobody knows how it works. Because let me tell you, to be honest, a lot of us have a hard time knowing how it works.
Yes,
Because
sir.
we deal with it only once a year.
Yes, sir.
So that process is very a lot of people don't understand how it works. So.
Yes, sir.
But if you invite me as an elected official, I'll take anybody that might have any information. But if you send me a flyer,
Yes, sir.
I just blow it up.
Yeah. Well, I greatly appreciate that, and now, like I said, I'm learning as well as I go along, so I will most definitely do that and make sure that any type of event that it will be just exactly as you stated as an elected official, so thank you for that. I will take your suggestion, and I will do that. Thank you for this information as well. Yes, sir.
Mr. Perez has our cards.
Yes, sir.
So there's a way to contact. So if
Yes,
you
sir.
want some more, let me know.
Thank you very much. Yes, if you, I'll take all the cards, all the information that you have. Yes, sir.
He has our contact information.
Thank you very much. I greatly
And for
appreciate it.
anyone that would like,
Ma'am, thank you for
Yes, sir.
for your time.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Mario, I want to put this to the floor.
Yes, to the meetings, only 1 or 2 can attend. Then after 3, it's illegal form. We can't all be
Yeah.
Okay.
But, and if you give me enough time, I'll post an agenda and we'll have a commissioner's court in your group.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's make it like a 1 minute.
You got 1 minute.
1 minute.
That's all you asked for.
Let me see. Hold on. Okay, go.
I agree with Kelani on being grateful with everything that you've shared with us and giving us insight on how it is that all of this governmental thing works and how we can all get together and contribute to reach a goal or whatever we need to do. If I understand correctly, this is about the disaster declaration, whether we should continue it. I don't think there's any doubt that we should continue it because if any declaration of disaster, those words imply something huge, something monumental, something that requires a lot of planning, a lot of action. It isn't something that you can solve in a day. And certainly, if we have been in contact or have been with our ear to the ground, we know that what is happening is an issue that requires statewide, nationwide cooperation. So, again, thankful for all that you've told us because we are taking action and we're going to continue to take action because we believe that this is something that is certainly a disaster and it requires the dissemination of a lot of information and a lot of discussion to bring forth the truth, the reality. And when we do that, I believe the majority of our citizens will wake up out of the deafness, the blindness, whatever, and say, I need to get involved, and we need to do something about this. So on behalf of, those of us who are, let's say, at the front lines, or who are more interested than others on attacking this with action, we want to let you know that we're going to be doing that. Plus, this meeting this afternoon, I'm sorry that you weren't able to go there, or anybody, I don't know if anybody can go in your place to represent Dimmit County, because, we need to get the information that is going to be shared, because my understanding is that it isn't just one more meeting to discuss and talk about what is happening, but actually to present actionable items. This is what we're going to do, and if that's the case, then we need to know what they say over there.
My understanding is my sheriff is going to go over there. I guess he's already over there. But I anticipate that this is going to go through. I don't know if it's going to go through or not. But I want this young man to take it, give it to the governor, so that he knows it first. Okay,
I'll do that.
so.
Make it a certified copy.
Yeah, I'm going to get Mario to certify you a copy so y'all can take it over. Me lo pones en un sobrecito.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Okay.
One last thing, Judge, real quick. Now, if you call the judge or myself on a specific ongoing criminal case, please need to know that it's nothing personal.
Can give you information.
We can't discuss an open criminal case. Now, once the case is resolved, you want information about a certain individual, unless it's your personal case, then you would be able to get the records from the county clerk's office. So if you call us and you get mad, you said in Mrs. Court, you're talking to us and you're not giving me any information on this case, sir, is it your personal case? No. Are you a victim in this case? No. Is the case pending and pending prosecution? And it's going to come to my office and the judge is going to hear the case? We can't discuss it. Just be aware of that. Sure.
Thank you.
All right, I want to open this matter to the Commissioner Court, put it on the floor. Our agenda is to discuss and approve the declaration of local state of disaster due to illegal immigration. It's through Mexico instead of from Mexico. Our declaration states coming from the border, Mexico border, doesn't say from Mexico itself. So we have a motion by Commissioner Valerie Rubalcaba to approve the declaration of local disaster. We have a second by Commissioner Juan Carbona. Do we have any discussion on that?
I have
Yes, sir.
a couple of questions, Judge. On the Farm Rocky roads, there's some that are left out.
Well, that was just examples. So
I got about 6 or 7 that are.
yeah, well, I put including but not limited to. That means any road in Dimmit County. So, and I didn't want to sit there and list all of them because I know that I'm going to leave one out. So I just put the ones that I recall, the numbers, because I don't know. And then I said that's why I put including, but okay. So we have a motion and a second. Do we have any other discussion on the matter?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
The language has for a number of days.
Okay. Yes. And I would suggest, I would recommend that we do it for a year, and then at the end of that year. So our motion is to approve the resolution for the next coming years, and then it will be modified at that time or continued at that time. And do we have any other discussion on those matters? Yes.
I just have one. Since we're going to get them a copy, can I also get a certified copy? Because I also need to send it up my channel. So they're going to hand deliver it to the governor's office. I need to make sure that I submit it to them before that as well.
Subject to the recommendations I made about extending it, not just to keep coming to this.
No. It says coming through the borders of Mexico, so it isn't limited to anybody.
And are you going to make any amendments to it that the sheriff department be required to continue to provide information to officials for?
Oh, well, we're gonna do that through the Commissioner's Court.
Yeah.
All right, anything further? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All that oppose, same sign. That motion carries.
And just for the record, if you hear me speak loud, it's because I have a hearing aid. So I want everybody to hear also. So it's not that I'm mad. That's the way I express myself. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Thank you so much.
signing the other, because she talked and I could.
Thank you guys.
No se vaya ahí, so we can sign this and, Pedro, no te vayas, Pedro.
I'll stay right here.
Hola, do-overs.
I just having to get the, do you guys have your cards here? Oh, okay.
I'm cheap. I don't want to spend my picture.
They're all, put your all into a little corner, you're right on. Okay, I'll go and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Tú firma la completa, recibe. Eso solo. You got a big Okay, we signed it in black. I wanted to show que para que se mire que it's original.
You did great. The video is 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ladies on first.
La pluma. There's a motion to adjourn by Commissioner Rubalcaba and El Gallo.
No, lo hice primero, pero...
Second,
I was gonna ask you,
all those in favor?
do you cut your stuff or do you?
No, normally I don't. Normally I just pay the whole thing. But it's boring. You know, they sit there and look at the budgets. Okay. I'm sorry.
You're welcome, yeah.
I can get it. I can do everything with the video.
Yeah, because I don't have the equipment to edit.
I've got the equipment to edit it. I've got the equipment for everything.
I did have the equipment, but I gave it away to my wife.
Okay, just keep
Oh, on the counter.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. No
Okay, with me later on and explain it. Okay? No, I just, he's angry. No, get with me later on and explain it. Because I'll take it right now and explain it. Okay, sounds good. Very good.
Thank you. I need to. Yeah.
Do I follow you? Thank you so much.
Are we getting now?
Thank you very much for.
Like I said, it's not
And thank you for allowing us to use
Oh, no problem. Whenever y'all need it.
You better watch it.
No, I'm serious.